I quickly wanted to bring your attention to three important timeout values that you might face, especially when debugging. You might run into some issues. So I wanted to show you how to overcome some issues when you're doing some debugging. So there are three timeouts that you can set in Sauce Labs. There's the maximum test duration timeout. This is basically how long your test should run. So by default, it's set to 30 minutes. And obviously, none of your tests should be running 30 minutes. In fact, they even recommend it here. That's way too long. I believe that no automated functional test should run more than 1 minute. But that's just my belief. I think that if it's running more than 1 minute, then it's probably a very brittle test that is likely breaking way too often, especially with functional GUI automation. So if you want to set any of these values, you just simply go to Visual Studio and set them like we've been setting them before in the over here, just by setting different capabilities. Then there's a command timeout. The command timeout lets Sauce Labs know how long a certain Selenium command may execute. There may be times where your Selenium tries to run a command and maybe your web application is down, or maybe it's just really slow and it's taking a Selenium command a really long time to execute. So there's a maximum amount set for that as well. I've actually never messed with this one. I usually just leave it at default. And then there's the idle test timeout. This will come in handy for you when you're debugging in the Sauce Labs browser. So the idle test timeout is basically how long can your test be paused before it fails with an error. And the default is 90. However, I usually set it to anywhere from 5 minutes to a maximum of 8,000 seconds, which is the maximum here, because sometimes I want to be in the browser debugging for a little bit and I don't want the test to be timing out. So if you want to set that value, you can go ahead and set it. Like I said, I prefer a higher value of 5 minutes to 1,000 seconds.